Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Diana Edwards. I am one of the learning directors here at NetCom. Thank you all for joining us. I have the pleasure of being the moderator for the day. So a little bit about NetCom. NetCom is a market leader in the training world. We do pride ourselves on promoting the values of lifelong learning, which is one of the reasons why we like to host these sessions. So today's session is Get Your Head in the Cloud, the growing importance of cloud certifications. We have one of our experts presenting today. His name is 𝐬𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢 Cruz. 𝐬𝐞𝐬𝐬 will introduce himself in just a moment. I can tell you a little bit about him. He's been in the IT field for a little over 16 years. He's been a college professor, a university professor for about 6 years, Microsoft community leader for just over 7 years, as well as a Microsoft trainer for the past 4 years. 𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 has led training seminars in customer relationship management, project management, software quality assurance, among other items. He's going to share with us, of course, his knowledge of the cloud. Now, keep in mind, we are just barely touching the tip of the iceberg here. This is an overview of what is a very robust topic. Certainly, if you have questions that go beyond this session, if you want to hear more, please feel free to reach out to us, and one of our learning consultants will be more than happy to share some more information with you. So NetCom, we help our customers to build innovating learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, which, as we all know, happens in the IT industry quite quickly, helping them to drive growth. And we do this by offering a very broad catalog of training courses. We also develop custom learning plans, and we deliver globally to our clients. NetCom has actually been around since 1998. We've actually trained a very, very large cross-section of Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. As far as our motto, promoting lifelong learning, we adopt that ourselves. Our company is comprised of many individuals who value learning, and we value sharing learning, which is one of the reasons why we like to host sessions like these. So we've got 9 primary practice areas. That's what we like to call them. Cloud is one of these 9, as you can see on the current slide here. It's the only one that we don't have highlighted, since this is what we're going to be talking about today. If you visit our website, which is netcomlearning.com, you'll be able to see some of the courses that we recommend specifically in the cloud space. We have quite a comprehensive training portfolio for cloud courses, so we hope that you will try to check those out or send us any questions that you might have. On our website, you'll easily see the courses we have available, as well as the dates and schedules for these courses. Now, a little bit about why people should attend this webinar, and keep in mind, if you're not able to stay for the full session, we are recording this, so we'll be able to provide you a link to the recording later. But we do want to present this important installment in Get Your Head in the Cloud. During the webinar, we're going to be discussing cloud trends, the market itself, what it takes to what we call hit the jackpot and become successful in the cloud and become a successful cloud professional. So this webinar will help you not only to understand cloud, but it will also expose you to some of the top-ranking cloud training that's available. Okay, so just a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. You do have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. You can make it larger or smaller, whatever works for you. I do believe that we have more and more viewers now that are joining us on mobile devices and smart devices. So if you need to switch between your main screen and the webinar screen, you can do that. While we are in session, everyone will be muted, just so that we can maintain the audio quality and you all will be able to hear 𝐬𝐞𝐬. We will have a section later for question and answer. So you'll be able to pose some questions to our presenter later. And a PDF copy of today's slides will be presented for you in the handout section. All right, I will go ahead and pass over to 𝐬𝐬 so that he can begin the session. One moment.
Thank you very much, Diana. Hello, everyone. I think you can see my screen there now. So again, thank you, Diana. Thank you for the introductions. As Diana said, guys, my name is Julio Cruz. I'm going to be delivering today's webinar. So as she said, guys, it's important that we understand that we have a pretty fundamental webinar today. Okay, we have the tip of the iceberg using the same words that Diana used. So we have a brief agenda about the content we're going to cover. We have first an introduction, an overview of the world, how it was and how we are now with the cloud. Okay, how does it look now for the customers? How does it look now for us, for everyone involved in the IT? The classic IT against the modern IT, how we are supposed to adopt this, how we are preparing for the modern IT, and then we'll have a complete description of the top certifications available in the market here with NetCom. Okay, so we'll discuss about this complete, let's call it lecture, and then you will see all the offerings available to prepare yourselves into the certification regarding the cloud services. So let's get it started, guys. The first thing we can see here, the world before mobility in cloud. Okay, you can see here 4 objects. If you take a look, we have users, identities, if we want to call it like that. We have devices, applications, and data that becomes information. This is how it used to look. Okay, we used to have a complete protected and isolated environment. We used to have an on-prem environment with everything completely under our control. Okay, there was no way of creating a dynamic access. This was our traditional on-prem. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys, you can ask yourself, but you're still using Active Directory on-prem. We have a domain join policy. We use group policies directly from the Active Directory domain services. We use System Center as our central tiler to control the whole environment. This is traditional IT. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's out of date. No, I'm saying it's a traditional way of working. When we start thinking about the future, that the future is now, we have now the cloud. Okay, the first thing you can see here, applications and software as a service services. We have plenty of options. This is just a few. We have plenty of options all around the world to combine. If you take a look here, I'm really used to use my pen in here, so if you see this, we have in there our traditional IT, just in a little bit corner there. Everything else is around the world. But guess what? This is not the only thing. The next thing you can see here are all the options available to combine the accesses to those platforms. Nowadays, if you want, you can use a video game console, you can use a mobile phone, you can use a smartwatch. Anything that has an open internet connection has the capability of reaching these platforms. And that's not the only thing we have to worry about. The next thing we have are the identities. Okay, nowadays, if the organization, if the customer has no identity in the cloud, it starts to be a little bit outdated. So what happens when we combine them all? We get a complete neurological network that goes from point A to point B to point C without any proper order. Okay, so that's when we have to be prepared to go into the cloud. We still have our on-prem in here, but everything else is a combination of possibilities that will give us the access to the data and the information we need. That's why we need to be ready for the cloud. So what does today look like for our customers? What do they think about this? If we are not having the proper solutions, we might not be good enough for them, or we have a good enough platform if we want to use it, like this. What happens if a customer approaches to our organization and sees that we are using a complete on-prem? There might not be enough technology. There might not be the proper strategy. Okay, so we need to combine what we already have using empower devices, using bring your own device policies, and then all the offers we have from the different vendors. Okay, we have Azure from Microsoft, we have AWS from Amazon, and we have Google Cloud from Google Services. So we have plenty of options to approach and attack this solution. Okay, that's the idea of this, that we can give the impression to our customers that we're actually ready to handle any cloud need that they might have. So that's when we get, guys, into our traditional on-prem and the cloud. You can see here, it looks a little bit like from side to side, like there is no way of merging together this need. We already saw this list. We have AD on-prem, we have domain join, we have group policy. What do we have now to offer from the cloud, guys? If you take a look, you might have heard of this one. We have Azure Active Directory from Azure. We have Amazon Directory Services from Amazon. We have Google Notes Service from Google. So we have different options to compare the directory. The next one, domain join. This is something that we're used to do since 1996. A device that is joined into our domain, it's completely protected, completely reachable, and under our protection. Guess what? We have now a replace for that. There is an option to go into Azure AD Join, use an autopilot service, use a self-service procedure that won't have to involve a human interaction. So now we have a complete move in the technology. Group policy, guys, you won't let me lie. How many of you are using group policies today? Everything on-prem, it's based on group policy. Now, we have a complete dynamic option that is called the mobile device management. In this scenario, the MDM can be the Microsoft one, we have Microsoft Intune, and we have plenty of other options. We have AirWatch, that is one of the common one that we will find. We have the Citrix MDM protection. We have plenty of options there to control. The objective of this MDM, it's, let's say, to replace and enhance the way we used to work. Now we have dynamic access, dynamic control, dynamic condition. We have temporary permissions, all of them fully automated. So we got a lot of benefits from the way we used to work. And finally, we have System Center against Microsoft Intune, the same, the MDM. That's a benefit. Here, we're talking about two complete different platforms. On this side, both of them are a single solution. Microsoft Intune, AirWatch, Citrix MDM, any of the options we have has total control over the devices. If you want to deploy an application from Mexico City to Los Angeles to London and then jump into Singapore, you can do that sitting in your home using Microsoft Intune. You can reach devices, you can wipe out devices, you can control everything. You will say, okay, that sounds quite nice, but guess what? We're still here on the traditional on-prem and it's not easy for us to move. That's when the modern IT comes in our head. We can combine them together. That's the idea. I'm not talking about replacing. I'm not talking about moving the way we work and getting a complete new paradigm. No, I'm talking about merging them together. That's the modern IT. We can work from different locations. We can bring our own device. We can have our own policies, okay? We can have dynamic access between Active Directory on-prem, Azure Active Directory in the cloud, and join wherever we are in the world, guys. That's the objective of the modern IT. Talking about this slide, Windows 10, and I'm talking about this technology because it's the first one we're going to cover. Windows 10, it's completely designed to work based on modern IT. I think I can bet that most of you are using, on a personal way or maybe on your corporations, Windows 10 device. Okay, you have seen you have the option to join into Azure. You have the option of using Windows Hello. You have the option of using Device Guard, downloading some certificates from Microsoft Intune. All those type of benefits, guys, are part of this modern IT. Okay, that's where we need to look. The big picture is getting into modern IT and prepare to be there. Okay, a little bit of comparison here. Classic IT against modern IT. How do we move there? Classic IT used to be like this. We used to have it. Sorry, let me get my laser. We used to be in here, as we mentioned. Now we can move into a hybrid scenario, okay? I want to be pretty clear about this, guys. I'm not saying that we need to go for a disruption paradigm shift and move into the cloud. No, we need to be ready to adopt the new technologies, getting like a degraded phase solution, not all at once. Okay, so during the implementation, well, you can see here we have a public cloud, we have software as a service, for example, Office 365 Professional Plus Suite, that is the version of the Office 2016 in cloud. We have platform as a service, for example, Office 365, all the benefits of Office 365, including Exchange, SharePoint, including OneDrive, all those are part of the platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. We're talking about Azure, we're talking about Amazon Web Services, where you can create a virtual device, a virtual computer, a virtual network. These three will complement what we already have in here. Okay, remember, that's the key part in here. We are not replacing anything. Okay, that's our objective. Now, a little bit about an introduction here, if you want, to the certification part. Where are we? Where are we right now? You can see here in the regions. We have the Middle East and Asia. Around the world, the Middle East and Asia, it's the area with the most quantity, with the highest quantity of people being certified for cloud technologies. We're talking about cloud in here, okay? Not on-prem, not servers. So the idea here is that everyone else around the world should be prepared to start adopting this type of work, okay? The United States, thanks God, we are just in second position. We're almost there. We are adopting the cloud quite nice, okay? If you go, for example, if you go to Latin America, to Mexico, the cloud is not that famous. If you go to Argentina, it's even less famous. It's not easier for them to adopt a change. So that's the reason why we need to focus on this type of charts, okay? Like preparing ourselves. You can see here, something curious is that between 35 and 44, we have the peak of the people getting certified. This is a trend that is about to change. I've been delivering a similar cloud conference around the world during the last 8 months, and I've seen a really young-based sector getting ready for the cloud. Okay, this is good because the next generation of the IT managers, the IT people, it's getting ready from the moment they step out from the university. That's the reason why we need to start focusing in these three sectors, okay? We need to worry about that. And the level of certification, this is the one that should be worrying us. Most of the users will go for a single certification. A simple example, we have the 979 class, a 2-day class with Azure fundamentals. You go, you present the exam, you have an MCP, okay? You just need to know how to create a computer, how to create a network, and that's all. Great. What are you planning to do to improve those skills? Which benefit are you getting from that fundamentals class? That's when we start moving, and this is where it gets interesting. The MCSA, that it's formed by 2 or 3 different exams depending on the type of path we decide to go, and we're going to check those in the next slides, will be here. Why do you think this one it's a little bit smaller than the MCP? Because once you decide to go for the second exam, you won't be stopped, okay? The next thing you will do is go for the MCSA. That means you have the 3 exams you needed for a complete certification path: architecture, networking, database. There's a new solution that we have now for hybrid technologies with a stack using Azure and Amazon. So that's the funny thing. The idea is not to get stuck in here and to keep moving into the MCSE. This is a regular scenario, guys, okay? The MCSD, that it's like the top notch of our certification paths, should be considered if you need to go for a complete architecture certification or something that it's really involving a lot of stuff. Think about the MCSD as the master of an orchestra, okay? That little guy in there will have knowledge about most of the topics related to your network. So that one might not be in our scope at the first glance. If you want to go for that one, well, you need to be sure about all the things you need to cover. But as long as we stay between MCSA and MCSE, we are ready for a specialization in the cloud, okay? Talk about Azure, talk about Amazon, or talk about Google, it's completely the same, okay? So this is just a little bit of data. Why do you certify by age? This is what I was mentioning. This is a questionnaire. This is a survey that Microsoft, alongside with some of the major technologies companies like Arvato, like Palo Alto, they decided to see the reasons why someone was going for a certification. As you can see here, even though you may think it's going to give you more money, no. The main reason is to build the Microsoft skills or to be ready for the new things. Why? Because the IT environment, guys, the IT world is realizing that the cloud, sorry, it's becoming the future, okay? It's already here and it's not going anywhere. So it's important that we're ready for that. That's the main reason why we have it, okay? You can see, for example, something funny. We have a lot of people being certified just because a customer required that. And I can bet you that in the next couple of years, this one will start gaining some points in here. Why? Because the customers, our new customers, are willing to get into the cloud. Okay, we need to be ready for that type of request, for that type of demand. Okay, it's quite important that we consider this chart as part of our reasons. Okay, it's not that common, for example, for a promotion. Okay, if you want to get a promotion, it might not be necessary. Why? Because we don't have a career plan based on certifications. That's the reason why we need to be pretty clear where we are and where do we want to get. Okay, a little bit more about this hard data regarding the certifications. You can see here the MCPS. Remember what I mentioned, the first exam you take. We have this one, the MCPS. You want to go for a second one. You want to go for a second certification. But then you start realizing it's too hard. I have to invest a lot of money. I need to prepare myself. I don't have the time. And you start getting a lot of excuses around yourself, provided by yourself, not to go for that one. I want to tell you my story. The first time I took a certification like 10 years ago, I had my MCPS. And after that, it took me like 4 months to get my MCSA. I was really against preparing myself. Then I decided, no, I need to go for this one. Now I have something like 25 different MCSAs and MCSEs. So obviously this is something that you should consider. It's an FYI, it can get addictive, okay? So the main reasons why you don't go, the lack of time. I can clearly understand that. 3 months ago, I presented the Windows 10 cloud exam. It's 70 questions long. We're talking about 3 hours sitting for the exam. Now you can imagine the handbooks that you need to use to prepare yourself. We're talking about thousands of pages to be ready. That's the main reason. It's not because it's too expensive. It's not because we have to do something else. The actual idea of reading a lot of content is the one that might be our biggest barrier. We need to overcome that, okay? We need to go and say, yes, I'm ready. The exam, it's completely mine. You have retake options. You have plenty of options to present and pass the exam, okay? So you can imagine, you can picture this one once you have your copy of the slides, and think about where you might be if you haven't decided to go for the first or the second one. I'm going to show you some costs. I'm going to show you some paths in the next slide. So that might give you an idea on where you are and where you want to be. This is the first one we have, the complete cloud platform and infrastructure certification path. Okay, you can see where you start and you can see where you want to be. If you let's say that you already are quite skilled in on-prem technologies. You have something like this. We have Windows Server, and Windows Server. You're already an MCSA, okay? If you have been working with Windows servers for the last 10 years, for the last 5 years, you're ready to present at least the first 2 classes, the first 2 exams. After that one, maybe a configuration advance, take a while because you're going to see a lot of PowerShell, you will see a lot of integration points, a lot of networking. Maybe that's not your expertise area, you will need to prepare. You are on the MCSA now. After that, you go for any of these. But before we get into the MCSE, let's say that you are on 2016, not 2012. We have the exact same path of 3 exams, okay? We have the basic installation and computing. This is something that we all have done at least once in our lives. Installing a Windows server, creating a repository, using some of the roles, creating a domain controller, a DHCP, basic stuff from Windows Server. Great. I need to get ready with the identity. This one, guys, the 742, it's not, I'm not gonna say hard, but I'm gonna say it's you need to have a little bit of skill there because it has a lot to do with the new cloud technologies of 2016. So if you decide to go for this one, take a stop in here once you're in the 41 and prepare yourself for the 42. Okay. And what happens if you want to go into the Azure path? You want to start there. You can see here we have the 533. The 533 can be the the first part we can take. The 533, that will be my recommendation if you're preparing to go into Azure. 533 is a 5-day class that covers all the fundamentals. Okay, you start from the moment on how to access a portal in Azure up to creating virtual networks with some virtual network load balancers, configuring some servers at the HCP, and then balancing everything together. So even though you take this one only because you need the knowledge, this might be your starting point to get into the cloud. You go for the Linux one. This is obviously the foundation certified system. It's a little bit complex if you have no experience on Linux or Unix systems, but it's not impossible. What I'm trying to say here, guys, is that there are plenty of ways of getting here. Okay, you can see here, any of these will give you the MCSA. You can choose two of these. You can start with a 3.3 and then 3.5. 3.3 and go for development if you are in the development area. 3.3 and go into hybrid and Azure Stack if you think that that's useful. The idea is that you get here. Once you're here, that's when it gets funny. You need to select one of these to go into the MCSE, and you will have the cloud certification from Microsoft. Okay, once you get that, you are completely ready to go into any other direction you want. A recommendation, this is just a recommendation from me to you guys. If it's the first time you're going to approach into Microsoft technologies, talking about the cloud, go for the 3.3 and go for the 3.5. Okay, those two, I'm not gonna say they are easy, but are fundamentals. You can start from scratch and get familiar with the technology. So 3.3 and 3.5. Once you're here, my recommendation will be that you go for something that has to do with Azure. Go for this one, hybrid cloud, that it's the same one we have here, or go for the DevOps if you are on the development area. Okay, these two are, let's say, the easiest from the list. If you want to go a little bit more into architecture, into infrastructure, you can take the 5.3 again if you haven't taken that one in here. The idea, as you can see here, is that you have 3 exams related to the technology. Okay, that's just an FYI. Take a really nice look into this one when you have your copy, so you can analyze the different possibilities. About the strategic technologies, once you have the MCSA, a little bit back, once you're here, you can start preparing as an MCT. Okay, an MCT is a Microsoft certified trainer. You have a lot of benefits, I'm not talking about only free content, because you have everything for free if you want all the content from Microsoft. No, you will get the option of preparing different paths of certification at any moment. As you can see, the number of certified trainers that we have in here, this is a number of on strategic technologies, and these are the technologies where our MCTs around the world are standing right now. Most of the new MCTs, and I'm talking about my experience as a trainer in knowing a lot of trainers in the area, we're talking about these 3 being the top of the certifications select to become an MCT. Why do you think that's the reason? Because everyone is preparing for the cloud. Okay, everyone wants to get into the cloud and be ready for that. So the MCT benefit, as you can see on the strategic, goes for Azure, Office 365, and Windows Server 2016. We have a little bit about data management, BI management, and analytics, and a little bit about in here Windows 10. There is a good path that you can take: Office 365, Windows 10, and Azure to prepare as an M365 certified trainer. That's a new technology that it's about to come. So that's just a sneak peek of the things we will see by the end of this year. Okay, so we have here a little bit of numbers. Something else about the numbers. We're almost getting there into the prices and the exams. We have here the need of the certifications based on the last certification date. Okay, you can see going from the MCP up to the MCSD and the MCSE, you can see the level required around the world and around the business to present something or to be ready for a new project, for a new position, for a new option. Okay, it's important, as I said when we saw the stacks, that we focus on getting here. We are here today to talk about certifications. Then let me tell you guys, you should focus on getting into an MCSE. Any way you want. You can go in different ways with Office 365 and SharePoint if you want. Once you are on the MCSE, it will be easier for you to prepare with all the relative technologies. Okay, or well, some examples. If your idea or your plan of your career idea or your career future is about training, you can prepare like this. We go a little bit back. You are an MCT now after the MCSA. You are ready to get in here. So this is just an FYI about some of the picks on the market regarding the preparation of the users. Okay, we're going to start talking about. We still have something like 20 minutes to go. We're going to start talking about the exams and the actual the prices, the benefits of each of those. So we have a different set of options. We have Amazon, we have Google too. Okay, so we're not going to just focus on Microsoft. This is the first thing that you should consider, the exams that we don't have anymore. Okay, there are some exams, for example, the volume license solution, the 678, that is still being applied in some countries. Even though it's retired, there are some training centers applying that. This list is important for you to know in case you're planning to go for an initial career path based on certification, which one you shouldn't be considering, especially this one. Okay, if you're planning to start with Azure, go for the 3.3 or go for the 3.5. Do not go for the 3.4. It sounds funny, but as I said, it's still around in some places. Okay, Microsoft is trying to completely close this decommission, but it's not there yet. So that's just something to remember. The exam number that we have, a new number that we got here, we have something for licensing to replace the ones we have in here. So that's something we have. And the new exams we got, guys, you can see them here. This is for big data and cloud services. This is related with BI management, a little bit about data warehousing, and a lot about SQL and databases. So this one, it's completely meant to be focused on you if you are on the data management area. Okay, we have analyzing for specifically for Power BI and Microsoft Excel. These two are on-prem. Okay, so regarding our content today, we shouldn't consider those if we're preparing for the cloud. For any other type of purpose, that's perfectly fine. And a beta release that we got the last day of January is the hybrid cloud with Azure Stack. This one, it's quite nice. It's quite a neat class, and it goes for the MCSE. So as I said again, 3.3, 3.5, and 3.7 should be your focus if you want to get the certification, the MCSE from Microsoft. Okay, this is just an FYI. You can consult this in microsoftlearning.com. There you can see the list of all the new exams coming. There are 2 new exams coming the next week for System Center 2016, and there is a new thing coming there for the cloud at the end of the year related with Microsoft Intune. So stay tuned for that if you are dealing with the MDM needs. Let's take a look now. We have seen a lot of Microsoft. Let's see some of the benefits and some of the career paths we have from Amazon. Okay, this one, the Certified Cloud Practitioner, the ACP, it's like let's say like an MCPS. Okay, we have the MCPS, we have the MCSA, and we have the MCSE. So this is the introduction level from Amazon. The exam costs $100. Okay, as you can see, it's a little bit more expensive than some of the exams we have from Microsoft, but the price is pretty similar. Something different we have is the timing and the language. Okay, I know that we are all speaking English today and everything, but if you want to apply with a different language, you need to go for English, you need to go for Japanese. That's the big difference between the exams. And something else here, well, at least 6 months of experience. About this exam, guys, let me introduce you this exam in case you want to go for Amazon, because Amazon is also a big contender in the cloud services. If you want to go for this one, this is like a, let's call it like a fundamental training. Okay, the same way I was mentioning the 533 from Microsoft, this exam includes creating virtual computers, virtual nodes, creating virtual networks, putting them together, creating security in the net, creating some storage accounts, combining them together, network, storage account, and computers, and creating a solution. You have pricing models. You have to know a little bit about the different models because Microsoft has a different pricing model than the Amazon one. So you need to be to be sure about the billing. You need to have a really basic understanding of security in network protocols because, well, everything is based in the cloud, and a little bit about compliance. Okay, just a tip in here. If you are applying in Europe, Central Europe or the UK, you need to know a little bit about GDPR. Okay, that's just a tip from me, because this certification, if you apply for it in Europe, you will have 1 or 2 questions regarding compliance, but focus on the GDPR. In the States, in America, in Asia, Africa, or Australia, you can go for any other option. So that's just the first part. So we have approved this one. We have passed the CCP. Great. We are ready to move on into the next step of the certification regarding Amazon. The next one we have is the Architect Associate. This is the CSA. Okay, as you can see, the terminology is pretty similar. This one, it's a little bit more expensive than the MCSAs we have from Microsoft. Okay, we start seeing here a difference on the pricing. This one, guys, it's focused on architecture. Okay, once you have all the basic knowledge for fundamentals, it's the time to get ready for the architecture. This one is not as complex as the architecture one from Microsoft, because Microsoft has in the architecture has a lot of hybrid endpoints that are based on Microsoft technologies like Windows 10, Windows Server, Active Directory, domain services, domain controllers, etc. Something that we don't have in here. That's a benefit on Amazon, because you have integration points, yes, but there is nothing on-prem. There is no hybrid mentioned. There is nothing to worry about on-prem technologies. So that's good. This one is good because of that. If you are focusing on Amazon, I have met a lot of people preparing themselves in Amazon. This is a good option to go for. You have 2 hours and a half, sorry, 2 hours and 10 minutes. It used to be 2 hours and a half up to 2017. It's quite a long exam. I'm talking about something like between 75 and 90 questions, depending on the location. And again, only English and Japanese. Okay, so now we have the MCPS and the MCSA in Microsoft, the CCP and the CSA in Amazon. And guess what? As I was mentioning, go for the last one. Go for the actual pick. Go for the specialist. Okay, this one will be compared with the MCSC, but this one, guys, and that's something that you need to remember. This one, it's about big data. Okay. This is not a necessary step if you are preparing yourself in Amazon. If you have the need of working with data management, this is your next step. It has a lot of questions. I will dare to say, I haven't applied for this one, I applied for the next one. I will dare to say that something between 70–75% of the content is regarding big data. Okay, so just be ready for that one if you decide to go for it. Again, it depends on your expectations, what you have to learn from Amazon. If you don't want to go for big data, you have the professional option. Okay, the professional option is the same. As you can see here, we have architect as an associate, we have architect as a professional. Okay, this one, to get into this one, you need to have this. Okay, that's a good thing, that you don't need to go through the big data one, because that's a specialization. That's a good thing. So once you're here, this exam, guys, has a lot of things about Amazon services. Everything, it's exclusive about the way Amazon works as an architecture to provide a software or a platform. Okay, how do I create a fault tolerant, as we can see here, high available? How can I create a disaster recovery plan, a business continuity plan, using Amazon services in 3 different locations around the world? Okay, which type of service should I get in the States to replicate in a synchronous replication into the UK, and an asynchronous not mirror replication in India? What should I use in there? Questions like those are the ones you will find if you decide to go for this one. Okay, this is the top notch of Amazon services. Okay, this one also goes for $300. It's a little bit, let's say, let's use a little bit more expensive than the Microsoft MCSC. It's something like $100 more expensive, but this one is the only option you have. You don't have to go for 2 or 3 different exams like you have to do in Microsoft. Okay, that's the benefit of it. You have 2 hours to complete it. It's only in English, only in Japanese. A benefit we have, and that's something I forgot to mention, is that the same way we do with Microsoft, there is an option to present this exam in certified locations, not necessarily a training center. I will recommend that because obviously the environment and everything like the one we have here in NetCom, it's specialized for that. Okay, it will make you feel comfortable and sure about what you're doing. But Amazon services can be applied in different types of scenarios. Once you go for that one, well, you will see the options to apply it. And our final part, guys, in here, the last three, sorry, the last part of the three offers we have for cloud, Google Cloud. Okay, you may think, I don't know, you might ask this to yourselves, if you know someone who is related with Google Cloud. I do know some people. I was delivering this similar class for the certifications in London a few months ago, like 2 months ago, and I had a lot of guys from Citibank working with Google Cloud for a test, and I mean a lot. So Google Cloud, even though it's not, let's say, it's not as big as Amazon and Microsoft, it has its benefits. Okay, it's let's say a cheaper solution than the one we have with the other offers, and it's getting a lot of terrain because of the Google services. All the options we have as an integration point for Google are one of the things that we have in here. Now, that's the good part. You have a lot of, one of the benefits of this one, even though it's not related with your responsibilities, is that you get a lot of industry recognition. Okay, being certified in a Google technology will give you a lot of recognition in the IT sectors, especially related to cloud, because Google Cloud is completely different from the things we have in Amazon and the things we have in Microsoft. But guess what? Just for you, just think about this, guys. The exam goes for 4 hours. Okay, the basic exam, guys, the basic introduction that is the associate engineer, it's really complex. It goes for 533 and 535 if we were talking about Microsoft. When I say complex, I'm not saying it's impossible or it's too hard. No, I'm saying that for being the introduction level, you have to have a lot of knowledge about fundamentals. Okay, the same way we have seen in Amazon, in Microsoft, you have these two. Great, that there is no options in there. You have a little bit about cloud solutions and successful operation. Here, you start measuring up the results and the outcome, something we don't have in Microsoft certification, the MCPS, and something we don't have on the CCP of Amazon. And security and access. This is part of the MCSA and the CSA of Amazon. So, as you can imagine, we start to get a little bit more of content in this introduction level. Okay, the good thing of this one, the cloud engineer certification from Google, is that once you go for that one, you have a recognition about a complete solution from end to end for a cloud platform. Okay, on contrary of the Microsoft and the Amazon one, that you need to take at least 2 to have that specific recognition, you have that one from scratch. Okay, it's a really nice exam to go for if you want to have that, let's say, distinguishing point between the other options. After you decide to go for this one and you pass the first exam, you have the architect. Okay, the architect one, it's not as complex as you might think, because you have covered in the first one here security and access, something that you have on the architect of Amazon and Microsoft. So in here, you start talking about all the architecture solutions. You have compliance. Okay, that's something that we have in the other two offers that we have covered today. But in here, you are completely focused on architecture technologies. Okay, you don't need to worry about, like you do on the others, advanced security, integration points, on-prem points, platforms related, peripheral dependencies, etc. That's not in here. This is all about the cloud. Okay, this is a good exam. It's not as long as the first one. As you can see here, we have 4 hours. This exam has something like 210 questions, between 180 and 210. This one, it's something like 90, 95 questions. So it's not that complex. It's not that long, but it's a good run, because you already have now. Once you approve the architect, you are on an expertise level that you will get after 3 or 4 exams in Microsoft or in Amazon. Okay, and the final one we have for this let's say this roadmap, this path, it's the engineer level. Okay, this one goes for all the advanced options. You will have optimization, you will have hybrid points, you will have advanced security and compliance, you will have policy management. So this one is focused on a business as usual scenario of any enterprise. Okay, this one has no dependency. This one has the option of being taken after you have approved the engineer. Okay, so you can go for architect or you can go for engineer. After you have decided any of those two, you have, let's say, a specialization certifications from Google. It's called the G Suite. Okay, this G Suite, it's compared to the MCPS, but it's completely focused on Google technologies, in Google Tools, in Google Hangouts, in Google Drive. This is like a basic certification for cloud services, but not as a platform, for cloud services as a software. Okay, so let's say that you're working with Amazon, that you're working with Azure, but you have the need of using Hangouts or using slides. Why? Because some of your partners are using this. Okay, you can go for the G Suite, prepare yourself. This is a really, I'm not gonna say easy, but this is a really fundamental exam. So it's not that complex. It's something like 45, 50 questions long. You have a lot of things to do there. To cover here, and you won't be missing any of the basic topics of the G Suite. If you decide to go for this because you're not using the platform, but you're using the Google services, then you should go for the final part, the G Suite Administrator. This is our top notch of Google. Something I've seen that is becoming popular, especially in the UK, it's getting this one, sorry, the engineer, and getting the administrator G Suite. Why? Because you have a complete Google offering, not only for platform as a service, also for software as a service. Think about, for those of you who are Microsoft users, think about this as specializing yourself in Azure and Office 365. Okay, so you have knowledge about SharePoint, about OneDrive, about Yammer, about the streaming, about Exchange, about Sky for Business on one hand. In the other hand, you have Azure Architecture, Azure Services, Azure Solutions. So you get a whole in just two simple steps, okay? An MCSA for products, an MCSA for cloud. In this scenario, we're talking about the same, a G Suite admin for products, and we have on the other hand, the Engineer Google certification for your platform. Okay, so guys, those are the offerings we have. As you can see, and as Diana mentioned, this is just an introduction. I think the main core of this webinar, guys, is that you have a broader knowledge of the available options that we have to certify. Okay, once you decide to go for each of those, as she said, you have a long path to go after you are decided. So you can go for Amazon, and we have something like 6 or 7 different offers to prepare yourself in a training material. If you decide to go for Google, there are 5 or 6 different offerings. If you decide to go for Microsoft, there are something like 10 or 12 different classes that you can go for to specialize your skills. Okay, so guys, thank you very much. For me, that will be all. We still have 10 minutes for questions and answers. That was the idea, that we had enough time in case you have a question. So I would like to know, guys, if you have a question, please. I think Diana will be taking the lead again, and she will be driving our questions with me. Okay.
Thank you, Julio. Wow, that's a lot of amazing information. And we're actually going to, there were a couple questions that I did see in the window. We're going to jump to those in just a moment. I wanted to just add a couple items here as we close off this section before we jump into questions. Okay. Again, to reiterate from the beginning, this was really just the tip of the iceberg as far as the amount of information that we can gather. And sadly, we don't have as many hours in this session to go over everything. But if you do visit our main site at netcomlearning.com, you'll be able to find quite a bit more of information on this. Some of the courses that Julio touched on, you'll be able to see those courses here. For example, the Microsoft Azure Stack was one of the courses that Julio mentioned. And I can tell you, I have put aside one of my earlier beliefs about which courses to take in order. Sometimes Microsoft will number the courses, right, like Julio said, but sometimes that's not the right order.
Yes.
This is where the subject matter experts and the learning consultants and learning experts can help to guide your learning by offering you some more information there. So NetCom is actually celebrating our 20th year of being in business, and we're inviting our clients, students, and learners to share and join with us in our celebration. And by doing that, we're offering some very deep promotions on specifically some of these cloud courses. In addition to that, once you get your technical skills met, we want to invite you to take a look at some of the leadership skills that we have available, leadership courses that we have available on our Starter Learning platform. And you can check out the Starter Learning platform as well. If you go to our main site, you will see a link to jump over to Starter Learning. Here on this platform, you're learning from some of this country's top minds, from CIOs and CEOs across the industry of Fortune 1000 and Fortune 500 companies who are lending their skills and knowledge to us to teach others. So that's something I hope that you will all check out. We also have some great promotions on the Starter Learning site as well. And you see the website there, starterlearning.com. All right, so we're going to launch our poll, and we're going to open up the questions. The poll is now open. And we also have the questions that were launched here. And I do see one question, what about resource security policies and concerns? That's a question from Al.
Okay, what about resources? Do you want to know about, well, I'm going to cover all. We have, on the resource and security, we have the option on the MCPS and the MCSA of Microsoft, and the CCP of Amazon covers those. Because the resources part, we have resources group, resource security, compliance, all those options are included on the basic fundamental classes. So there is nothing like a specialization on that. Compliance and security as part of the resource management is included there, and there is an advanced part on the MCSE, the one that Diana just showed us, that is going to be, I think, the next month, the 357, or the 537. That one includes the advanced resource management, but resources are included in the MCPS and the CCP, okay?
Got it. And Al actually had a follow-up to his question. I am an MCP programming HTML5 with the CS3 and JavaScript and Azure Solution Developer. Certification in 10 months in the US and looking for jobs. So why don't you, Al, I would love for you to talk with us some more about that. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was not Al's question. It looks like the two questions ran together. The name is not showing up on that question, but whoever that was, please feel free to go to our website. You can send me a message personally, Diana Edwards. You'll see my info there. Al's follow-up question was, can we have a copy of the presentation? We will work on getting that to you, Al. We actually made a PDF version of it, and we'll send that out. So that was Al's follow-up question.
Thank you very much, Diana. Is there anything else? Any other question, guys?
Nope. Okay, so we will we'll keep the session open for another couple minutes if anyone else wants to pose a question for us, or if you want to answer the questions that we have in the poll. If not, we want to thank you again for joining us. Thank you for trusting NetCom and for trusting us to deliver this valuable information about cloud. And feel free to visit our website, again, netcomlearning.com, and we'll be more than happy to address any other questions you have.